So I'm just gonna ask, because I really like you, but why are you acting like you haven't known Jasmine since at least 2021? Now, regarding this question, before we get into the answer that was given by April herself, I did make a video recently exposing that Jasmine has been a part of the family for quite a while, longer than at least what we've been shown on screen. And also on top of that, in that video, it even seemed as if there isn't only just 4 wives, with them currently looking for the 5th one, but it also seems as if there's actually been 7 wives this whole time, or at least there's 7 wives in the making. And also on top of that, in that video, you also find out that Danielle's character seems to be very different to what we see on screen compared to what we see in that pictures in particular. But listen, if you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend you watch it, so therefore you know exactly what is going on in this video. But hey, let's get into the response that was given by April Davis. Now, to be fair, some of these responses of other people are quite interesting, but we're not here for those ones, you know what I'm saying? Let's stay to what we're here for. So, as you can see here, April decides to come in and says, our relationships are authentic, but the format of the show determines what parts are highlighted and the way that they're presented. Time on the show is limited. We've certainly got more going on with our lives than you've seen. Now, the thing about this type of answer gives me very PR vibes. You know, it gives me that type of answer where I'm going to answer the question without actually answering the question. So she did not deny that they have known Jasmine at least since 2021. There is no denial of that. Nor did she confirm. But to be honest with you, the fact that she ends off by saying we've certainly got more going on with our lives than you've seen, tells me that the information that we have found so far may have a whole lot of truth behind it regarding the fact that Jasmine, they've known her for a while, and also regarding the fact that there may be other wives too. But like I said before, watch the video previously and this will all make more sense. But here's the thing though, we're not here just for this. Whilst I was looking for more content around this, okay, I did come across something very, very interesting on Reddit. Something that I want to share with you guys right now. And to be honest with you, it'd be very hard to sit here and say that this tea right here isn't true. But hey, because we don't have the facts, we can only say it's alleged. But someone took their time, and obviously, as you see, they said, has promised, Davis deep dive with tea. So let's get into exactly what was going down here. Now, it starts off by saying, all right, as promised, here's the first part of the deep dive of the Davis family. And guys, I do have some tea for you. This is just a part 1 because there are more things, but I didn't have time to look into all. If it's worth updating, I'll do a part 2. Now, bear this in mind, this is very detailed. And I got to say, I love the freaking detail behind this. But let's continue and start off with the first paragraph in particular, or second, shall I say. Okay, so I have to start off with the biggest thing I found out. Remember how April and Jennifer supposedly married each other, and their reasoning was they did it because they couldn't all marry? Yes, I definitely remember that. I always found that weird. So then I remembered in the first season they talked about this. Well, I went back because I also remembered they show a picture of the two with a certificate. But that wasn't a marriage certificate, it was a license. The difference is a license just states you can marry. A certificate means you did marry. And after that, I looked online and wouldn't know it, they aren't illegally married. I mean, listen, am I surprised? Absolutely not. Because, you know, when it comes to not just the Davises, but when it comes to TLC shows, you know, the shows that are their babies, because there are certain shows that literally are the babies of TLC. 90 Day Fiance, Seeking Sister Wife, 1,000 Pound Sisters, 600 Pound Life. I'm pretty sure I forgot something else as well. But these are like the baby shows. These are the shows that are owned, produced by TLC, right? And if we really look at the track record of those shows, there's always a lot of mischief. There's always a lot of deception. You know what I mean? So therefore, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised that these two aren't necessarily, you know, legally married, and it's nothing but just a license. Not to say that's a bad thing, but the thing is though, if you're going to tell us something on screen, tell us something that is truthful, not something that is a lie. You know what I mean? It is called reality TV, so you are supposed to be real in the reality. But I guess that memo went over their heads, I guess. Nonetheless, though, we continue here with the next paragraph by saying, another article had come up when I was looking for this, and they had been quoted saying, since Davis hoped that one day they'll each be able to marry one another and not have to worry about clubbing together with their own legal protections. In the meantime, at least one of the other segment in the of the population is wondering when or if they ever did get to my apologies, my voice is really messed up right now. They'll ever get the right to marry? I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, listen, you know, we've experienced how the sister wives, how the Brown family had to navigate then obviously their relationship and obviously the challenges and all that kind of stuff. So we do know when it comes to plural lifestyles, plural marriages, polygamous lifestyles, you know, when it comes to marrying or when it comes to it being legal, it's definitely something that can be challenging. But we move on to the next one. This in particular, as you can see, where it says the Davises, a polygamous family living in Oriel, say they wish people in polygamous relationship could have their own union legally recognized. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Just to benefit Nick. How the wives believe that they benefit blows my mind. But we continue by saying because it really didn't make sense, did it? No, it didn't. Why marry each other when you can't all marry? Why not just not marry at all? Which is what they did though. Do you know what I mean? Since never married, all these girls had said, we changed our last names to Nick so we could feel like a family. Oh, isn't that adorable? That's the extent of that. I don't think Nick ever wants to be legally tied to anyone. And to be fair, that is something that I truly believe, to be honest with you, because if he's tied to people, well, then that's going to put him in a position where it might even mess up his own pockets that he doesn't even have, because really and truly, he lives off the hard work that the women make and the women do rather than the hard work that he doesn't do at all. Because obviously he stays at home doing research. He stays at home being a father. Yeah, right. He stays at home scattering you freaking prey, if you ask me personally, because he's nothing but a predator, in my opinion. But either way, though, we continue here where he says, not just commitment reasons, but also due to income and taxes. Exactly. The girls also never had a ceremony, making it easier to just use that as an excuse. There we go. This is what I'm saying. And also we have to remember something, right? And not even us, like, I feel like the women have to remember this. Nick is a very intelligent, calculated guy. You know what? Forget that. Let me not say intelligent. He's a very calculated guy. Just because you're calculated doesn't mean he makes you intelligent. And for somebody that is calculated, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly how he's moving his pieces. I want to say on the chessboard, but right now I'm going to say on the checkers board, because boy, I've got a feeling that sometime all of this madness is going to catch up with him. Because let's be real, the more you add in more women, eventually something's got to give, you know. Something's got to give, because jealousy is going to end up getting the best. You know what I mean? I think in the end, to be honest, he may end up being where he was at the very beginning with him and maybe just April. Who knows? Then again, April may be the first one to leave in the near future. You never know, right? But nonetheless, though, let me continue what's being said here. And now on to Jasmine. As we all know, a lot of pictures, a lot of photos of them circulate around showing that they already know each other in 2021. In a few posts, people were wondering if this was filmed a while ago, and that would be why. But that makes no sense. Jennifer had her baby in June 2022, and also in the last season, Jennifer was pregnant, right? Was she actually pregnant in the last season? Damn. Did she get pregnant a lot? I know she didn't have no baby bump in the last season, though. I know that for sure. But yeah, so there we go. That's why the timeline, and that's why if we go back to the question before where we started off with April responding, talking about our live, blah, 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 I said before, she did not at any point deny or confirm. And she knew that she couldn't deny, because she denied, and she knew she would be flat out lying, because the timelines would be caught out. And this is an example of the timelines being caught out. So we continue here. By the time the baby was on film, this puts filming around June, July 2023. And I will say this now, from my knowledge, okay, after speaking to a cast member before of one of the 90 Day Fiancé shows, before the show is aired, it is filmed a year to a year and a half in advance. So if we're talking about a year ago, that would have been 2023. Now, of course, if it's a year and a half, it may have been 2022, but only a certain portion of it. And we know for sure the other season, Vera didn't exist. That was when Jennifer had just been pregnant, you see what I'm saying? So therefore, April's response is very, like I said, PR, very political. So of course, Jasmine has definitely been a part of that family way before, you know, this season. And it seems to me Jasmine was probably there before Vera was even born as well, potentially. But let's continue. But having said this, and if you saw above, it says some stuff I need to verify. I think part of the reason Jasmine left them around that time was because of the new baby coming in. I do actually believe they tried bringing her back to actually date, but they were pretending not to know her because it sounds more interesting to say, here's a new girl, instead of we've actually known her. I mean, listen, I get it. It definitely would sound more interesting, but at the same time, would it really be that deep? Not necessarily, you know what I mean? Because it's still somebody you're bringing in to now be a part of your family as an actual partner rather than as a friend. Because let's look at the Merrifields. In their season right now, they've now brought in a new woman, okay? The woman who's Muslim. And this is the woman that they've already said that, yeah, this is a woman that's been friends with Daniel for a minute. And now they want to see if they can explore things in a different way. So really and truly, it wouldn't have really made a difference, you know what I mean? But I get it. I also think the reason why Daniel is worried about this is because they already knew they knew her already, and she's on thin ice with everyone for having left. I mean, to be honest with you, I actually do wonder. I really do wonder if Daniel really did leave, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel left just for the purposes of the show, just to help the storyline become an attraction. Because really and truly, when we're watching, you know, Seeking Sister Wife, when we talk about couples that we're interested in, you know, I would say obviously, whether we want to admit or not, the Merrifields is always the one that we definitely want to watch the most, and we definitely want to, you know, have our opinion on the most. And based on last season, the Davies was definitely still one of the other couples that, you know, we definitely had our own opinions, especially myself. So to be honest with you, when you become a couple that has a higher attention of audience, or you're the one that brings more of a traffic towards the show, really and truly, sometimes I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I know this for a fact that really and truly, TLC would definitely do certain things to manipulate the storyline to make it more interesting, and the cast members who are part of it, who are happy to be paid, will also do what they can to, you know, manipulate things to a certain degree. But also at the same time, I also know this. Sometimes it actually has nothing to do with TLC. Sometimes cast members are told that, hey, unless your storyline is interesting, we may not bring you back. So, and I say this because in case you don't know, regarding 90 Day Fiancé, there's a story that I did on my other channel regarding Debbie and her son. And Debbie's obviously she was in the last season of The Single Life, and she actually went out of her way to recruit Ruben the Cuban to be a part of the show. Because if she couldn't bring someone in the show, well, guess what? She wouldn't have been in the part of the show. So therefore, she went out of her way to recruit him without the show actually knowing, and literally told him to make the show to convince the show that they've known each other for a while. Do you see what I'm saying? So there is also a part where some people will happily, you know, fix their own storyline so the show takes them on. Do you see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that was off the back of Davies themselves. And let's be real, like I said before, Nick is somebody that is very calculated. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that said, hey, let's cook up the plan. Let's do the plan of where, okay, Danielle may have left, but really she didn't leave. Okay, let's cook up the plan of Jasmine was this, but really da-da-da-da-da. I would not be surprised, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if April's also behind some of the plans and ideas as well. Because really and truly, if we look at the dynamic of the family, April and Nick are definitely the ones that are the king and queen. They're the ones that definitely determine da-da-da-da-da. You see what I'm saying? But I do believe that at some point, when April, you know, when her power gets put to the side for somebody else, that may be the beginning, the end of April's existence in this relationship. But hey, we continue now. With that being said, though, we continue here. Another thing I found interesting was the fact that everyone is on the deed for the new house, except Danielle. This is the big reason for why she probably kept her apartment still, as she isn't exactly entitled to anything, and was, in my opinion, reasonable in keeping the place in the case of it not working. I do, however, believe they probably wanted some of her income to go towards the place. I mean, listen. It's a possibility, do you know what I mean? Then we continue to the next one itself in particular. April, as we know, has been the one from the start. April once said on the show, Nick's a lot to handle. Let's just say in a lot of ways, she added, which is true. Nick is a lot to handle in the bed. I'm wondering if this was the reason for adding a second girl in. This is just a theory, obviously, but it's possible she either didn't want to put up with a certain, you know, sex life, or is it possible Nick may have been having a side life and it was easier to let him have his cake and eat it too? That she probably thought, since Nick don't want to have Costco cake money, sorry, couldn't help but joke. Of course, listen, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We got to bring humor to these situations. We can't always be serious about it. In the case of he was strained. I mean, listen, there's a possibility, but to be honest with you, I don't know about that one. I think that when Nick introduced himself to April at some point, obviously in their relationship, I personally think that he's the one that cooked up this idea. I think that Nick has the wits and ways of being manipulative, the wits and ways of saying things that can help him get what he wants. Because you got to think about it. It's one thing for him to be in a relationship with April. Then, obviously in that situation, let's run with this narrative that maybe he stepped out for a minute, she found out, and then they decided da. We can go with that. But here's the thing though. Even if it was a case of where he was cheating, then they bring in Jennifer. But why would Jennifer want to be a part of a relationship where she was with a guy who was cheating this whole time? That doesn't make as much sense to me personally. So personally for me, I think that these two, Nick at some point got into April's head the same way we think Ick got into Danielle's head, okay? Without obviously using God, do you know what I mean? But in this film, using his charm and said, you know what, babe, I feel like we should bring in someone else. But if we go back to the episode where we saw April and her brother, his energy gave me the energy of like that April's only in this because Nick has convinced her. April's not into this because this was ever her idea. And then April's energy the whole time is no. This is something that I like. This is something that I agree with. This is something that I'm happy with. And I've always said that April looks tired. You know what I mean? She barely looks happy in my opinion. So for me personally, I think at some point down the line in their relationship, whether it was early in the relationship or late in their relationship, he said, hey, babe, I want to bring someone else in. And he gave whatever reasons he gave. And she was okay, cool. And at that point, they then started looking for the first woman, or should I say the first victim that was willing to be a part of their family, which happened to be Jennifer. And then it was Danielle, and then so on. That's what I think on this one personally. But hey, let's continue. Right. Now, let's hit up the topic of the hot tub scene now. Yes, let's do that. In the hot tub scene, April, who shares that her favorite color is red, she tells the group, I'm a Leo, and so ruby is my birthstone. Something about it attracts me. Maybe it's like a power color for me or something. Talk about how when you see red flags, but red is your favorite color. But seriously, I saw a lot of people confused of why this would be a red flag. The whole Jasmine talking intellect while attempting to anyways, while in the hot tub, my theory, the hot tub is for intimacy, period. Which makes sense, to be fair. It makes sense to some degree. But the theory behind her color being red and her being a Leo and Ruby being the birthstone, I mean, listen, to me personally, I don't think it's really something that's that deep for me to really look into. I just think at the end of the day, April has made a choice to want to be a part of this lifestyle. And that's just that. You see what I'm saying? I don't think that's something that's necessarily we have to look into too much. But let's continue with the next one in particular. Because after the whole thing is said, about how they didn't like that it happened in the hot tub, Danielle agrees saying, I mean, if we're in the hot tub, but before she could finish, Nick interjects, implying that the hot tub gatherings typically lean towards physical intimacy rather than deep discussions. Not that Danielle was wooed by Nick in her season in the hot tub. I'm sure he used intimacy and not intellect, which is why they were thinking. And do you know what? I will say this though. In the last episode that we did see, when Nick is talking to Danielle in the end and trying to get the reassurance that she's okay with Jasmine, blah, 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 when the conversation is now swaying in a way that isn't going in the direction that he needs it to, what happens? He then says, listen, let's stop it here and let's go have some fun. So I do know for a fact that obviously, yes, Nick does use intimacy as a way to control the women or to just control the narrative that he wants to feed. That cannot be denied. You see what I'm saying? So I see this one. I understand it. You know what I mean? Now, the final topic. A few days ago, someone made a post talking about Nick, a quote Nick used. They say they found it to be attached to a religion of source called Thelma. Now, a little bit of information regarding the religion itself in particular. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I say Thelma, but maybe it's different. I'm not too sure. It's a Western, exotic, and occult social of spiritual philosophy, as well as a new religious movement that is founded in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley, an English writer, mystic. I don't know why I can't say this blood clot. What do you know? Anyway, occultistic, if I said it wrong, I apologize, and ceremonial magician. Central to Thelma is the idea of discovering and following one's true will, a unique purpose and calling that goes beyond ordinary desires before the lovely made this quote, made this post. None of us knew what or if they follow a religion, and that is true. I don't know if these two. I don't know if these follow religion. I thought personally that they were just living life. Well, that's how Nick would have put it in life, put it in his own words personally. So, but I really hate it when religious things become a factor into these lifestyles. You know. Really dislike it. I'm not really like someone that's massive religious at all, to be honest with you. But when people start using religious into explaining things or maybe why they do certain things, I hate it, because I hate when religion is used in ways that are more negative rather than they are positive. Do you see what I'm saying? But yeah. An interesting fact about the Thelma stuff is that the highest entity in Newt, the night sky, symbolized as a naked woman covered in stars, representing the ultimate source of possibilities. Having the infinity small point, represents manifestation and motion. I can't remember say this next one here. Ra, who called to shore, a manifestation of Horus embodies the sun and active emergencies of the thematic magic. True will, a fundamental concept of Thelma, refers to an individual's unique purpose and calling. Crowley believed that discovering and following one's true will is the path of self-realization and personal fulfillment, often referred to as the great work. So basically, it's all about me. And Nick seems to live off this pretty well. The naked woman part was just had a tad funny. It was a tad funny, wasn't it? But seriously, I think he saw a woman as he means to gain for himself without doing a damn thing, which is absolutely fact. But this man does a damn thing, and he gets defended for it by his women, which is crazy. Anyways, hope this was interesting, guys. Now listen. I didn't have to read the whole thing, you know, because obviously I know there's a lot of things here that maybe I could have left out, but I had opinions that I wanted to add to some of the things that were said. And to be fair, it's only fair to read the whole thing. So therefore, it gives a whole overview of why this opinion has been given, or this tea has been dropped by, obviously, you know, the person decided to create. And thank you to them, shout out to them. But I want to know your thoughts and your opinions on the matter. For me, myself in particular, I said before, there's certain things in there that I do believe that are probably 1000% true. And then there's certain things, obviously, that we know that are theories where obviously I've given my own opinion. And therefore now I only ask you, lovely folks, to give your opinions on your thoughts on some of the things that were said as well. What do you think that is 100% factual, and what do you and what theories do you have based on some of the theories here? And yeah, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.